This is an EP that was pretty paramount, I believe. It's not streaming anywhere, so you have to go on YouTube or something. But
the band actually encourages you to steal it. So
really,
when you buy El Gran Orgo, you do not support At the Drive-In. You support dishonesty.
Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, by my excited co-host, Alexander Volta. Say hello.
Hello.
This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's a whole discography per episode, and today we'll be discussing every album by
At the Drive-In.
Ooh, At the Drive-In. Big time fun time for Alex.
Yes.
This is an Alex bucket list pick.
Yes, sir. Gotta indulge sometimes. Gotta tickle our own fancies. Also, we did the Mars Volta, and now I feel like we close the chapter a little bit.
Check out our episode on Mars Volta from forever ago, as well as our episode on their reunion album, which is also an album that exists.
It is an album that exists.
Sure does. But now we're finally talking about the Drive-In. Longtime fans will remember that I'm pretty critical of Mars Volta. I like them. I think they're a great band, but I don't love them the way a lot of people love them. And I would imagine I'd feel the same about At the Drive-In, and I mostly do. I think they're a great band, but there's plenty of things that I hate or just dislike, maybe not hate.
You know, Cedric is Cedric, and I love it. But yeah, to me, it's a totally different band. I didn't even really get into them until I got into the Volta. Like the first time I heard them, I was just like, what is this? I feel like some people I didn't like in school listened to them, and I was like,
oh, definitely. I get that vibe. For sure.
I was like, they're probably not good. And then I heard Deloused. I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
Was I wrong? And I was wrong.
I mean, that is an album that cannot be denied. Mm-hmm. But I've heard this band before, like 8 years ago. I listened to 2 records and sort of came in way. I was like, yeah, it's cool. It's fine. I have no problem with that. But it wasn't enough for me to go back and listen to. I just thought it was cool. And here I have a different approach, different perspective now. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize how emo they were.
Yes. That was part of why I didn't listen to them, because, in high school I was more of a purist.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't even want to be associated with that stuff. But yeah, I think they always fought that label. And I think that
why?
I think that label even bought their demise. I don't think Cedric and Omar were feeling that. They did not want to be held into that genre.
Of course, why would you? But they're also, when I say emo, I mean Sunny Day Real Estate emo. Check out that episode where it started as post-hardcore, but it was way more emotional, way more melodic. And then you see it kind of bridge the gap between the stuff that we like Sunny Day Real Estate and them At the Drive-In, and then the stuff we don't like the rest. And even this, it's there's a little too much of that than this. If you get what I'm saying, more so early on than later on, of course, because the band grows quite a bit over the course of the discography. It is just not my bag. They're the late 90s post-hardcore, early emo thing where it's still very angsty, very fast and high energy, very punky, but it's 90s punky, which is not the punk that I like. I like the early 80s punky. And so it just does a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to bash them. It's just a thing that I don't care for. It's not done badly or anything. But then they start to grow, and then it's, I don't even know what you'd call them by the end.
Yeah. I mean, they are a band that really they get better every single entry. They get a little bit better until they got too good.
They had to die because they were too good.
Yeah. And that, yeah, the emo label is also fascinating to me because I didn't realize how much these guys fucking toured. Like, I don't want to say they love touring, but they toured a lot. And like looking at the bands they toured with, like none of them are emo bands. I kind of teased this last week, but yeah, they like toured with Carp and Murder City Devils. Like, which, man, that must have been fucking awesome to see at the drive-in and Carp together.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, they were just a gnarly live band too. Super fun.
Yeah. From, maybe getting a little further ahead, but like that's how they got their first record deal was, rumor has it they did a show in LA in front of 9 people and it was fucking amazing. One of those people happened to be from Flipside Records and they're like, we'll put out your album.
That's how you just got to show up and put in the work. There's
I feel like you can't do that anymore.
You can, but it's a lot more demoralizing. And I promise you this, there is no one of note at those shows.
That's the issue.
There is not he happened to be in the neighborhood. Check out. No, there is no one there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a story I love from Henry Rollins way back in his early Black Flag days where I think he played a show. It was Black Flag's already established, but they played a show to 6 people. And it was the most discouraging, demoralizing thing ever. And I think it was Chuck Dukowski was like, nope, don't care. Play. Those 6 people paid money. Mm-hmm. Play your heart up. Give them everything you got. I was like, that's inspiring. Until I played a show with like 3 people and it was horrible and they hated us. And like one of them was an employee. It doesn't really. It's like,
so 2 people.
It's easy to say like play your heart out, but when there's no one there, it's like, what are you even doing? You know that, like, but I guess that just separates the week from the not so week. Yeah.
There you go.
But we have some notes here from our boy Tom Osman, who should all go and follow. There's an NPR feature from 2017, a feature from Noisy/Vice on In Casino Out from 2018, and a New York Times interview from 2017. But as Alex pointed out before we hit record, none of this quite documents the vitriol of the initial breakup in 2001. Apparently it was a feisty.
I kind of don't like, I get like Cedric and Omar being so fascinated with like this spiritual like realm and things like that, because there's a lot of death in this band. Even from the outset, the original drummer Bernie
Rincon,
passed away in like 95.
Oh shit, that's really
they broke up, and then you had like Mars Volta and Sparta, which sucks.
We'll talk a little bit about Sparta.
Woof.
I haven't heard them.
You know what? They had the impossible task when I went to Coachella of going on right before the newly reformed Pixies. It's not like today where it's just like, oh, the fucking Pixies.
Always when Kim was still there.
This was like their first,
I remember that.
First show in forever. And they had to go on before the Pixies, and no one gave a fuck.
Why would you? Honestly.
I don't know.
I remember that when Pixies came back, it was a big deal. It was a really big deal. I still never seen the Pixies live, and now I've lost all interest because of all the new records.
Yeah.
It's sad.
So DeLau's is kind of in tribute to their sound manipulation artists, whatever that means, Jeremy Ward, who passed away, and they were like did interviews where they're like, it's Jim's fault.
Oh, spoiler, Jim is the only one not to return to the band after the most recent reunion. I wonder why.
I will say when he leaves a second time, it was handled with more
grace.
Well, there was less vitriol going on.
Okay, a little bit. All right. Well, they are much older now. I mean,
yes,
get your shit together.
But yeah, I remember like it was kind of like not like a rap battle. Like, oh shit, like Cedric and Omar said this, and like Jim said this, and like
at least they didn't have diss tracks. That'd be mad lame.
I mean, maybe they did, but it's probably in a weird,
psychedelic haze,
or like talking about someone in a moleskin suit or something.
It'll be very metaphorical is what you're saying. So because we didn't mention off the bat, obviously this is Cedric Bixler-Zavala, whose name I hate, and Omar Rodriguez-Lopez. I just don't like the hyphens. I don't believe in hyphenated names.
I love them. I love them both. They should have more hyphens.
Also, I have such a problem with the name Bixler. What the fuck is Bixler?
It's unique. You don't know anyone named Bixler?
No, I don't. It sounds made up. Of course, yeah, of the Mars Volta. Then we have the main original members, Paul Hinojos on bass, Tony Hajar on drums, and of course, Jim Ward on second guitar. Keely Davis would replace him in the reunion, who is also a member of Sparta.
I'm sorry, it's kind of funny.
Huh.
That he's like in Sparta.
That is weird. I thought about that too.
And I imagine it like the old school Mortal Kombat games when you're like moving up the tower.
Yeah.
He like surpassed Jim Ward.
I mean, that was a pretty big reunion. I remember that reunion.
Yeah. I also new to me. I didn't realize Omar was not even playing guitar originally.
Oh, I didn't yet, because I knew he wasn't a founding member, but I didn't know he started with bass.
Yeah,
in '95. So they formed in '94 by Cedric and Jim in El Paso, Texas. And according to this piece, anyway, it kind of like shits on them, like as like their early stuff was awful and just completely derivative. This is like what? So Bixler-Zavala and Ward were equally as taken with the ambition of bands on Discord Records, as well as the spastic chaos of the San Diego bands populating the Gravity Records roster. They'd managed to meld these things into a good song here and there, but never did they become more than the sum of these influences. Which is a very interesting way to like, all right. I mean, I would probably not disagree if I heard like the earliest demos.
Yeah.
But it says it wasn't until 1996 when the band added guitarist Omar Rodriguez-Lopez, bassist Paul Hinojos, and drummer Tony Hajar that At the Drive-In will begin to settle into itself. Yeah, that's basically it. It's pretty brief little backstory there, but total we'll be covering 4 albums and 2 EPs. First album came out in 1997, last one 2017. Yeah, I guess everything else pertinent we'll get to in the records.
Yeah, I said I already got a little ahead of the game and said they did a gig for 9 people in LA and someone was from...
The right person was one of the 9.
Yeah. Also, this album only costs $600 to make.
That is quite cheap. I made a record for that cheap once or twice.
Surprised it sounds as good as it does.
I know. But might as well jump into it. This is 1997's Acrobatic Tenement.
This production is a little rough, of course.
Dude, the right cymbal on this album is prominent.
It is a little dominant. Yep. And this, man, it's a cute song. It's like pop punk, essentially, but played with a little bit more swing.
I mean, this is one of the best songs on the album, I think. It's interesting. This is like the only album where Cedric sounds like very young.
I think he sounds pretty young on the whole, almost the whole discography, but he does sound pretty tiny.
I guess the next EP too, but then it's like all of a sudden he'll sound like Cedric. But
this is this is cool, really catchy chorus there. It's very it's well done.
Like surprisingly hooky. Like I said, this is one I don't really go back to a lot, and
no, it's quite rough.
Yeah, I would just pick out the songs I like. Also, like the happiest sounding
Yeah, that song is one of their happy songs I mean, it's really misleading if you're going into this band blind and you hear that. You're like, oh, there's like a poppy kind of punk band. Usually they're just really edgy and emotional and kind of almost dramatic at times. That's poppy.
I think it's very rare for someone to be like, this is the first At the Drive-In song they hear.
It's very rare. Shafino, I think, has a pretty cool main guitar line. I mean, the production, I think we should talk about the production. I mean, holy crap.
I mean, it is what it is. It's a young band recording an album for $600.
Yeah. It's like, cause it's not just, we've listened to plenty of shitty sounding albums. I've loved many shitty sounding albums. It's the way that it's shitty that makes it odd, where it's really weirdly spacious.
And really it's just the drums that get me the most on here.
It's not flattering to the types of songs that these are. It's just too open. It's too open. And, weirdly floaty, like on that opening track. I mean, Cedric's doing a bunch of vocal overdubs. They're kind of floating around the mix. It's a cool effect, but it's very hard. It's not the most tangible thing ever.
The track 3.
Oh yeah, Ebroglio.
It's just this raw, like spacey energy. I could hear like the Fugazi influence. Again, the ride cymbal is very prominent.
Yeah. I dig the drum clicks in the intro of that one. I really don't like that main riff. Just more anthemic, emotional punk. There's some proggy moments. It's mostly the drums doing it. But I still don't like the song all that much.
Yeah, it is interesting to me how the guitar is mostly handled by Jim Ward and a man named Adam Ampran.
Yeah, looks like.
Yeah, so you don't get like any of the Omar
cool stuff.
Yeah.
What is it? Initiation kind of tones things a lot down. It's clean. It's mellow. It's smooth as hell.
I think it has some like, very pretty guitars.
Yeah.
That's like Cedric has like the very like high pitched vocals, but that's like the most feminine he'll ever sound.
Interesting. Because I think the song is well written. I think it's nice. Cedric does not fucking sound that good on there to me. Like, there's a lot of moments in this band where he is pitchy as hell.
He is, finding his way.
You would think it's also weird because he's never pitchy in Volta. Like, I may not love the tone of his voice, but he's a great singer and he still hits all the right notes. Here, he's hitting wrong notes all over the place. And this whole band.
Still a baby. Still learning.
Yeah, still learning, I guess. More fast punkiness with Communication Drive-In.
Yes, I do enjoy those guitar riffs. They're almost like punk riffs without distortion.
Yeah. It reminds me of Misfits at times. There's another moment in a different album that the vocal line, it's like, it's very Misfits. It's not like they sound like the Misfits, but it's just a little reminiscent.
I forget what song it was. One time when I saw the Volta and they were doing like their jam section, I think Cedric started singing. No, he did. He was singing Bullet. So,
oh yeah. Well, the love is there.
Specifically the part about coming.
Masturbate me. Also, I actually like the ride on Communication Drive-In. It's a little bit loud, but I like what he's doing. It's very, very cool. Skips on the record really reminds me of like a punkier Sonic Youth.
Yeah, I think that's one of the weaker songs for me.
I don't mind it, although I do find Cedric's vocals really ill-fitting. It's like he's just like shouting atonally. It doesn't, and the progressions are like really pretty. It just feels like they don't complement them. But I dig the arrangements on it. A lot of little unexpected changes and transitions that kind of bring it to life.
I found Paid Vacation Time to be interesting because I feel like those are like kind of the seeds of the Volta. If you're like searching for like where did this start, I think you could like go back to that song.
Interesting. I do like that one. I wasn't like blown away by it. I think it's pretty strong. Ticklish is another one that I don't care for.
Those are really like very specific, like indie rock riffs.
Yeah, I was pretty tired of the writing style at this point in the album, and then Cedric annoys the fuck out of me on that song.
I was like, did Omar write? No, these have got to be Jim Ward riffs.
I would imagine.
Then that's when I learned. Yeah,
because I think one quote from Omar later on is that the whole from beginning to end, the band was all these songs were extremely collaborative, but yet they sound nothing like Mars Volta riffs. So I'd imagine that it's the other the input of old Jimmy.
Yeah.
The other song that I don't like on here is the closer.
It is kind of a flat closer.
Yeah, Porfirio Diaz. I hate the riffs. I just don't like them at all. Where the rest of the album, it's like it's doing a thing I don't love, but it's not like horrible. That's like the only song I genuinely dislike, I think.
Yeah.
Although it does have one section on there that I do like, but it's not enough to turn around.
Yeah. For me, I think I would just like pick and choose what I like from this album and kind of leave it at that.
Yeah, it's decent. It's really rough around the edges, but I don't know. It's just not. It's got like you said it. You said it fine. I mean, just you pick and choose. It's plenty of other things have this kind of concept and feel, but executed much better. They needed this album to get started. That's really what it feels like.
Everybody's got to start somewhere, right?
Because it's not even horrible. It's just really not great. It's just kind of average.
Not our thing.
Yeah.
Especially not Mike's thing.
Nah.
But it's not the worst.
Not the worst. I mean, it's really not the worst. There's still some solid moments, some catchy moments. And honestly, I'm not even that turned off by the bad production because I have a soft spot for rough production just generally.
I think if they hypothetically, if they fizzled out after this record, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'd be like, why do people like this? But I think having the history is one of those instances where it helps.
Definitely. But moving on to the follow-up. This is an EP that was pretty paramount, I believe. It's not streaming anywhere, so you have to go on YouTube or something, but
the band actually encourages you to steal it. So
really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Is that because they don't like the people who released it?
Yes.
Apparently, Off Time Records.
When you buy El Gran Orgo, you do not support At the Drive-In. You support dishonesty. That's what the band says.
That's what it says. So everyone steal it. As prompted to by the band. But this really rocketed them to start touring.
Some eyes on them.
Absolutely. So this is 1997's El Gran Orgo.
El Gran Orgo. I couldn't believe this riff.
I couldn't believe it in that I hated it.
I thought for sure that was a Jim Ward riff. Not even on the CP.
I didn't know he wasn't on the CP.
This song feels like, I'm not saying they were, but this feels like them trying to conform into a more.
This is 90s punk. This is just a 90s punk song. And you know how I feel about that. I imagine it'll be a little bit softer than I would, though. Yeah, it's I wouldn't call that horrible, but it's definitely a style that we were familiar with.
I mean, it's also the other one, I could see how people hear it and they're like, there's something here, and this is my Worsley's favorite.
Worsley's favorite. I genuinely dislike this EP. I think it's a bad EP.
I am amazed Omar, even a young Omar, wrote these riffs.
They stink. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, that song alone, I was already really worried because the stuff that I heard I liked, but it had been so long that I thought I was misremembering it as interesting and good.
Yeah.
Because when I hear this, I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's just not my band.
No, it's oddly pop punk.
Yep.
I'm really glad they didn't go down this path.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I guess Honest to a Fault fares a little better.
It's better
because if I'm gonna listen to that kind of punk, I think AFI does it the best.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole other podcast.
Indeed.
Winter Month Novelty.
Well, before we move on from Honest to a Fault, one thing I did actually like the group vocals on there because it's an interesting texture, and we don't get that later on
Yeah.
not to that, not at least not in that way. And then the clean breakdown that it goes into actually works.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't hate that. But Winter Month novelty.
Yes, I like that. May be one of the stronger ones. I think because it's a little darker. It's not as hooky as these like pop punk driven ones.
Yeah, it has this it ratchets up the emotions, it slows things down, feels good. It's still very much like an early emo kind of song, but it's way more it has way more intricate guitar work, more dynamic all around. It's like I don't love all the drama in that song. I don't love it the style so much, but it is a good song.
Intermissions is some heavy stuff.
Dude, Intermission is way better than it has any business being. It's a throwaway lo-fi transition song that's better than every song on the album. It's insane.
I will say it is a nice segue into like Fahrenheit because that is the heaviest song on the EP.
The rest of the songs on the EP, I'm not into.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Like no shreds.
It's not, well, Fahrenheit isn't bad,
yeah,
but I'm just like not moved at all by the riffs. And a lot of it's really dramatic and a little bit cringy. But there's like some noisy moments that I do like, but overall just it was a miss for me.
And then I do not care for Speechless. It kind of started off like it's a weird comparison because they're after At the Drive-In, but like I was like, oh, this could be an Idol song for a little bit, but then it goes back into the like pop punk.
Yeah, I like the intro to that one. They have like these siren sounding guitars that sound pretty cool, and I actually genuinely like Cedric's screams here more than a lot of other places, but boy, is it mostly generic, and I hate that chorus. Also, fuck Picket Fence Cartel, which we skipped.
Oh, shit,
I mean, it just grinds my gears, dude.
Yeah, I didn't care for it so much. This went straight to straight to Speechless.
It's just like this is really the only record that sounds like this. I don't like it. I don't like this genre. I don't like this style that they're doing. I don't like these songs. It's very emotional. It's very angsty. It's very 90s punk in feel. But really, I'll forgive anything. I'll forgive all of that if you just have some good hooks and some good writing. But
I think this is for like big fans. And really, it's only out of print because of the disagreement between the label and the band.
Well, I haven't ever heard of Off Time Records, so I'm sure they're doing well, but
they're probably just clinging on to those recordings and being difficult. I'm sure they're not even around anymore.
Yeah, I doubt it. Highly doubt it. There's no way.
Because spoiler alert, when they they like bought the rights to all their music except for that one. Yeah.
Well, maybe they don't like it either. Maybe just saying. It's not that great. Just saying.
I feel like they're kind of like completionists. Yeah, I feel like they would be like, even if they don't like it, they'd be like, why. This is part of our history.
Yeah. I wonder why they probably couldn't. I bet they wouldn't sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What cunts. That's got demonetized, but luckily we're not monetized anyway because
we're playing music.
Exactly. So you can say that word all I want. But now, well, both of our worst and least favorites for all the reasons I always said. I can't imagine even fans of this band will be that wowed by this EP.
Oh, I think, well, especially like in the, like when they were popular, I'm sure there were plenty of people who fucking liked it.
Yeah, good point. But now we're on to the second full length. This came out in 1998. This is In Casino Out.
It's amazing how much better this sounds.
Oh, yeah. That sounds a lot more like Cedric.
Yeah. He like went through puberty in like a year's time.
And his voice went down like 3 notes. He didn't go through a drastic puberty. God, he sounds so goofy here though.
I like this. I like this Cedric.
I like when he shouts, but it sounds so goofy, doesn't it?
Yeah, way better.
Way better.
Also, I never knew this was like recorded, and I'm using the code live. So like,
Yeah.
not a live album, but they recorded it as a full band.
Yeah, according to this piece, it says recorded in 4 days with minimal overdubs. And Casino Out was the product of a band that was locked in as a unit. Instead of laboring over tones, the band ripped through the songs as if they were playing live. It definitely has that live feel to it for sure.
I will say also before this, they were without a label, and they said they tried to apply to like every indie label they knew, and Fearless Records stepped in to save the day.
Thankfully, because again, we needed this album to get them to be even better. I'm not like super jazzed about this album, but I do think it's significantly better than the past two.
Yeah, this is a really like solid album. I love like the second track.
Oh, Chimbara.
Oh man, it's just like, also it's so funny, again, going back to like labeling them emo, and you like sit down and you look at like the lyrics for Chimbara, and it's about war. Like,
Yeah.
he's not like singing about like heartbreak.
Yeah.
Well, a different kind of heartbreak,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, because like the emo thing, it's like, I mean, it's, who knows? I don't even know the real meaning, but like, what always occurred to me is just it feels more emotional. Not necessarily that it's about something more emotional.
yeah.
So I think it's a perfect example of that.
I will, going back to the Godfather, or the like, help usher that in maybe a little bit. Husker Du.
Husker Du. Husker Du. Check out that episode from a million years ago.
Which is also funny that the song Hula, you got Hula, yeah.
Husker Du wounds. Hula hoop wounds.
Yeah.
Super early emo sounding. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, especially like the guitar playing there. It also made me kind of think about like the parallels between At the Drive-In and Modest Mouse, or like man, in some weird like alternate universe where they like stayed together, do they go that like more like commercial route that Modest Mouse did, or like just interesting stuff to think about?
I know. Not a huge fan of Hula Hoop Wounds. It's just, I mean, some of the angstiness here is a bit much, even though I think it's a significantly better album. The only other song that I don't like much is Hourglass, which I find to be pretty cringy. I mean, really dramatic pianos, overly emotional and cheesy. I hate the vocals. I kind of hate the song, actually.
I don't hate it like that, but I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, but everything else, there's a cool dual guitar thing at the beginning of Napoleon's solo.
Yes, I do. Like, that song is like when you're like, okay, this guy playing guitar now might be a madman.
Guitar playing is obviously so much better here than the past two. Also, Napoleon Solo might be one of Cedric's worst performances in all of this discography. Like, I mean, really pitchy, like just wrong notes all over the place. It's just really bonkers. But I do love that really melodic, mellow chunk in the final third. Pretty stuff.
How did you feel about Shaking Hand Incision?
Great drums, really good energy with some nice moments. I dig it. It has like these big open riffs in the chorus and incredible drums in the verses. Nice.
I also noted the drums, but I'm like, this is like Fugazi on like PCP.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. It's good stuff.
There's Lopsided, which is like the most minimal sounding song on the album.
I find it to be emo as fuck.
The most
not a bad thing. I would call it a bad thing. But it's not. Yeah, I don't think it's bad at all.
An interesting development in the closer, Transatlantic Foe. I almost feel like that should have been the opener of the album.
Really?
Like, I think closing with one of these piano songs, and then like, I don't know, Transatlantic Foe, this has like this great energy to it that I like.
It is very cool. It has this clean, emotional verse that I think is really nice. And it, like, legitimately solid punk riffs, like more punky than most of the album, if not all the album. What else? I also dig For Now We Toast, despite the fact that I think Cedric sounds horrific on there. I think this might be his worst album, honestly.
I will not say a bad word about my king.
Because like, this has taken away all of my just preference of I don't like his tone. I mean like performance wise, I think it's his worst performed album. Which is interesting.
It's also, again, I've brought this up before, like very interesting and kind of hypocritical on my part how I like love his voice, but I'll do something like the Blood Brothers, and I'm like, I can't.
Blood Brothers are more annoying to the episode. They are more annoying, but they aren't that far off. Yeah.
Thank you for kind of confirming my bias.
They are indeed. That is some really annoying vocals. But yeah, it's a good album. It's venturing out a bit, but not in any revolutionary way, but still like you hear the new guitar interplay that they're doing. It's definitely a step forward. It's not like a massive leap, but it's a step forward.
Yeah, I think putting Omar in charge of command or guitars and then recording it as like a live band was like all great choices here.
Solid move and a solid album.
Not as hooky as other things.
No. It's more about the energy. It's a good energy album.
Yeah. Also, I think Jeremy Ward was on the last album doing the field recordings. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, he was. Oh crap.
Can we look up if he's related to Jim or if they're just?
That's a good question.
Oh, cousin of Jim.
He's Jim's cousin.
Okay.
But yeah, moving on. We got another EP here. And this is where things take a little bit of a shift sonically.
I don't know why I've never listened to this before.
Never?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I actually heard this before you. Amazing.
Yeah.
Here we go, baby. This is 1999's Vaya.
I love this like weird
staticky kind of like
bass.
Almost plugging in the cable, but not quite.
Yeah.
Oh, this. What band does this remind you of, other than Volta?
I mean, it kind of reminds me of someone who's been listening to like dub music, like reggae dub music.
It is dubby, but it's better. Almost Santana-esque.
It is. I mean, in some ways, the Volta are
They are just Santana.
I was gonna say the modern Santana, but
Santana's the modern Santana. So this is not angsty post-hardcore emo anymore. Sure, elements like that.
Also, how does the EP sound better than they're on the same label?
It's just way better executed. Great song. Great drum choice there.
Really like nailing the quiet loud dynamic thing.
And now this feels like at the drive-in,
yes.
but not in a overly angsty way. Mm-hmm. It's just a really cool riff and a really interesting opener.
Yeah, I feel dumb for never.
This is one of the best records by far.
It's so good.
It's just close to being personal favorite for me.
Like fucking Ursa Minor is like the bass line's so good, and I feel like the bass doesn't really get attention or love.
Yeah. Dude, that song, man. So this EP does things that I love that they'll never do again. That breaks my heart. They go into ugly, bitter, weird noise rock territory here.
Yeah, especially on Ursa.
Especially on Ursa Minor, because it alternates between these big anthemic riffs, as they are prone to doing, and this ugly noise rock, and it's fucking crazy sounding, and it's kind of kooky, and it's really, really catchy. I mean, it's stuck in my head right now, the little thing that they're doing. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's one of the best songs by a mile. Plus it has really interesting drums and really deep and dynamic main riff. Proxima Centauri has this driving dirty bass line with a really cool slide guitar. Dark and emotional, but well done.
I thought that song's okay.
All right.
I do like me some Heliotrope.
That's a little bit more of the at the drive-in standard.
It goes, it's more of a standard song. It goes really hard, but I do agree. Like the songs that go like do weird things are really enjoyable.
Like Metronome Arthritis.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Like they're dabbling in psychedelic stuff. It's dark, like.
Oh, it's really dark.
Yeah.
I wasn't blown away by the main riff, but they're around 110 I think it's a chorus. I guess you could call it a chorus. It's so freaking good. And then I like Cedric shouts on there a lot too. Plus a really, really solid outro section there. Rules.
300
megahertz. Yeah.
That's like dark funk music almost.
Yep. Real mean, real groovy, very
Yeah.
fuzzy, but subdued somehow.
Yeah.
Unlike anything they've done up to this point. I mean, not even close. There's this really great section at minute 35 that I love a lot.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I think like the most like unique song to me is the closer, 198 decibels, or
198D or something like that. I think it's decibels.
it's just at first listen, I was like, huh, and then I kept listening, and it kept like growing on me. It's like uniquely weird and beautiful, and they do like all these interesting things on it.
I guess that song would kind of qualify as a ballad for these guys.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's not over dramatic or angsty. It's just really nice. It's really well done. Really well written. It has these cool, subtle electronic textures in there. It's clean and edgy, but it's, it sticks with you. It's a great closer because I listened to this 3 times, and like after the third time, that song really resonated for a while. But this is like, if you're listening to this in order, better than ever by a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like where the last album was a step in the right direction. This one's a leap.
It really is. I also think like on the off chance you're just like a Volta fan and you've never like listened to At the Drive-In, like that's like a good EP to refer to like Volta fans.
It's a perfect entry point.
Yeah.
If you're going in that trajectory, because I mean, it's way more dynamic and deep than ever. There's interesting layers all over the place. The songwriting is way more diverse. It still dances around emotional and angsty, but it's still got a lot of variety in there, and the noisy, crazy moments that are just so original that I really wish they kept. But this is basically the only place you're going to find it.
There wasn't enough time to.
What? No time. There's plenty of time for noise. There's always time for noise, baby. But I mean, legit record. I mean, it holds up well. But you ready to move on?
I'm ready to fucking do this.
Hell yeah. The last album of the original run, the original lineup, this is 2000's Relationship of Command.
This is one of the greatest openers of all time.
Of all time, you say?
All time.
It is a great opener, I'll give you that.
If this song doesn't get you amped, what the fuck is wrong with it?
It's got to get you amped. Those wiggly guitars,
We're building up with the floor. It's also like their hardest song.
It's pretty hard. Total ass kicker in opening.
I didn't notice how erotic Cedric is. He's breathing.
And now that's Cedric as well. Man, he does sound good. I think he's mixed way too loud, but he sounds good. Love those screams. Yeah, that's satisfying. Fuck, that is a satisfying ass opener.
Fuck. And best personal
favorite. Yeah,
it's a fucking beast of an album.
It's damn good. And as much as I wanted to give personal favorite to Vaya, this one it's just too consistent. There's nothing bad on here. I mean, there's one song I don't love, but even then,
also like if I didn't like grow, I don't want to say I grew up with this, but I watched them like grow maybe from a distance at first. Like I wouldn't have been able to tell you which songs were singles off here because I think so many of them are just consistently good and amazing. Do you know who produced this album?
Is it Ross Robinson?
It is Ross Robinson.
I was at a ringer. Tom informed me before that, and I was like Ross Robinson, and then I quickly learned that he's Mr. New Metal. He is all new metal.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if I hope we talked about on Blood Brothers. He did Burn Piano Island Burn.
Oh, Ross?
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, if we forgot to talk about him, I'm sorry.
But also Andy Wallace mixed this, and he's another guy who has credits out the wazoo. I mean,
most mixers do. Like, they're this hardworking people.
Yeah, and they've worked on every album that you like. I had no idea Iggy Pop was on this album.
I was gonna wait to get to it.
I had no idea until right now.
I didn't know because what song is it where he's featured?
Rolodex Propaganda and Enfilade.
Yeah, Rolodex Propaganda. I was like, man, those vocals are like so goofy and funny. And then I went and I'm like, oh, they're fucking Iggy Pop.
I was wondering who the hell that guy was. I was like, that's obviously not Cedric. Who is that guy? I didn't even bother checking.
You would never think it's Iggy Pop, but once you know, you can't unhear it.
Yeah.
So
also Cedric plays guitar on that song, which I did not know.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And he also sings on and is it Enfilade?
Yes. I didn't notice those as much.
No.
I hope Iggy Pop, I really love the like ransom call in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
That'd be cool if Iggy Pop was the guy who doing.
That'd be cool.
I don't think it is because he has a more like, Iggy Pop.
Yeah. He's great intro though. Some of these earlier songs like Pardon Against User, more the post-hardcore emo style, but man, feels great. There's this breakdown around 155 with amazing guitar interplay.
Yes. Also like that opening drum fill is this like quick, simple thing, but it's so iconic. Like you hear that drum fill, you're like, that's at the drive-in.
There's more really cool drum clicks on the opening of One Arm Scissor. Love the dynamics and arrangements there. It's like at this point, it's just you can't even call this emo at all. You can't call this punk at all. I mean, it's so blatantly better and more advanced and more matured.
It's so like surreal. Like I remember the first time I like heard / saw the Mars Volta. There's a show called Farm Club. I think it's on the USA Network over here in USA. And it's so funny that I remember that because it seems like a big moment. It's like on the wiki page. And like I was so taken aback. I was like, I never heard anything like this. I've never seen a rock band that looks like this, like with the afros and
a lot of bad hair,
the skinny jeans. Like this was like we're like in new metal.
Yeah,
pretty like it was so crazy, and my brain didn't know how to deal with it for years.
Well, it seemed to come out the other end all right.
Yeah.
I would probably say my favorite At the Drive-In song all time. Invalid Litter Department or Invalid Litter Department.
Man.
I mean, that is if they had more songs like that, I'd probably be a diehard At the Drive-In fan. I love everything about that song, beginning to end.
It goes hard when it needs to go hard. The pretty like melodic parts,
super haunting guitar melody.
Oh man, yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
And for a song that's like haunting, the drums sound fucking amazing.
It's incredible. And when the vocals come in the verses, it becomes, I don't want to say poppy, but like light. It becomes lighter. And I mean, a little poppy. There's like this really pretty song tail to that riff. It goes into this thing, and then it always has this tail at the end where Cedric sings a little bit high pitch. It's very pretty, but it's heavy and groovy while still being pretty and poppy. And then these gorgeous piano lines come in. I mean, it's incredible. It's like an absolute epic. It's the longest song on the album, but it's the best.
Yeah. I also like, I feel like usually when a band has like a spoken word part, it's just kind of like, okay, this is the spoken word part. But this song's so fucking good, you're really not even thinking.
I didn't register my brain as spoken word. It just felt like
it flows so good,
very nicely.
While we're talking about like melodic and pretty things, like I love Quarantine.
Oh yeah,
like it starts with like these rain field recordings, and it's just like, again, the like, hey, the bass gets some love here.
Sure does.
This like nice and simple, and then kind of like crescendos into these good like emotional things. It's this, and we're like, that's track like 9, and I'm still like, let's fucking go.
That one has like a real classic rock feel with that smooth, that silky bass, almost like some Zeppelin in there. And it's that song to me is like a Volta tease.
Yeah. You know, it does have that Since I've Been Loving You quality with less babies.
Less babies. But really good textures, really great bass lines, good stuff. The only song I don't love on the whole album is Cosmonaut. And that's only because of like the lack of diversity. But guess what, Alex?
Yeah.
Look where it is in the album.
The second to last.
That's right.
I love Cosmonaut. Like I think it's fucking great. I love the drumming on it. I think, the issue is like the closer for me.
Really? I listened to it with the bonus tracks, not realizing that they were bonus tracks. Extracurricular and Catacombs, but Non-Zero Possibility. You're not big on that.
Not big on it. It's still very good. Like it's probably more of a nitpicky thing. So
I'd like it a lot. I dig it a lot. I mean, really good unsettling melodies over this dark, emotional rhythm. It's a little dramatic, but I think it's really well produced and really well done. It's really atmospheric, and the mixing on that one is done super good, super well.
Mm-hmm.
As for the bonus tracks, we got Extracurricular and Catacombs. Extracurricular really reminds me of Fugazi.
It does, yeah. You can hear it there.
Yeah. Not bad. It's one of the more upbeat things, which we don't get too much of on the main album, so it's nice. And then the main riff to Catacombs is pretty fun, and then it goes into this moody, almost psychedelic verse type thing.
Catacombs is the strongest bonus track, I feel like.
It's pretty atmospheric, it's really good soundscapes, pretty psychedelic, not too bad. But holy shit, man! I mean, like, it's a beast. It's really good. I mean, other stuff that we didn't even talk too much about, like Mannequin Republic, where it's another really fast and angry one, but it feels really good following Invalid Litter Department because of the energy. Yeah, man. And Sleepwalk Capsule has this amazing breakdown around 1:25. I mean, even so, like I'm naming like Sleepwalk Capsules and Mannequin Republic. They're basically the normal straightforward at the driving songs, and even those have a bunch more depth now. Yeah,
that's fair. It's so funny when I was like, I guess too close to it. I was just like, I don't understand. Like, I was like, it's a very good album. I've always liked it, but I like couldn't really appreciate why it was so impactful until like later on.
It is. I mean, it's so obviously the best, and I completely get it. It's like I get the praise. It's a fucking legitimate album. It's their longest album. It's their most ambitious, most diverse, best produced.
They fucking broke rock music. I think everyone was like it was really stupid. If you're like my age, you'll remember people were like, they were like trying to find like the quote unquote like next Nirvana, which is really like stupid and unfair to bands.
Yeah. If you look for next Nirvana, it's not going to sound like Nirvana.
And I think people were kind of like, oh, it's At the Drive-In because it's totally like unique sound.
Yeah. And then they broke up.
It was
at the peak.
Too much pressure. And like, I don't think people, because like some people knew who they were, but not a lot of people. I don't think people realized like how hard they were touring in the lead up to this.
Yeah. I mean, it's according to this piece here, it says that they were in a little bit of a van accident.
Yes.
It says, the tour van skidded out of control on a road in Colorado and flipped onto its roof. Despite the severity of the crash and the damage done to the vehicle, no one was seriously injured. Band members were released from the hospital the same night, walking away from the type of accident that could have left them much worse off, indeed. But in terms of like the breaking up, there's more to it. It's like also around this time period, Cedric started getting pretty heavy duty with the drugs. It says right here, Bixler-Zavala's drug abuse, perhaps due to the pressure brought on by that hype, had begun to color his creative output and presence on stage. Both he and Rodriguez-Lopez later discussed feeling stifled by genre, which by that point had become a major point of confusion for a band seen as too melodic to truly be hardcore, but too heavy to be anything else. Some signs of distress were obvious. That January at the Big Day Out Festival in Sydney, Australia, the band had walked off in the middle of its set, displeased with the audience for not adhering to the rules against moshing. Pussies. Still, the split was sudden, considering the band had just created a new circle of fans who knew almost nothing about it a year earlier. Interesting.
Also, for anyone who is like not seen like clips of like at the drive it like on their initial like run when they're young man, like fucking maniacs. It may not sound good sometimes, but like man, like fucking electric performances.
That is fun. That is fun. From I think it's New York Times. It says, by the way, this piece, it refers to everyone by Mr. and their last name, which is really distracting.
Usually you just say the last name.
Yeah, it sounds like this guy sucks at writing. But it says right here, Mr. Rodriguez-Lopez broke up the band because he had grown restless, he recalled. He was weary of the constant wrangling behind at the drive-in's fully collaborative decision-making, which might include, he said, a week-long discussion on exactly which shade of red to use on merchandise.
I believe it.
Dude. If you're a young man and you're starting a band and you're starting it with people and you're trying to collaborate, the process of picking a band name, just quit the band because it's not worth it. Because especially these days where there's a billion gajillion people in the world and every band name has been done. Yeah. You're never going to agree.
You gotta replace your U's with V's these days.
You could exactly. That's the only way to show up in Google.
Like churches.
I think right here, Rodriguez-Lopez says, I just really wanted to be doing something more than what the context of what we were doing allowed. Everyone from management to my dad to my family said, you're crazy. You guys did all that hard work. It finally paid off. Just stay in the band for another year, go tour, and then you can do your little group that you want to do. But for me, I felt like if I don't do this now, I'll die. Now, I'll probably think about it more, but at the time, it was a very simple decision, even though it was a big decision.
I mean, like, sure, we have hindsight now. We know it worked out fine, but like, it's fucking crazy.
It is absolutely crazy, but what you can't ignore and what isn't crazy is listening to that little voice inside your soul. That motherfucker is going to tell you the right thing no matter if you want to hear it or not.
I don't think it's a little voice for Omar. I don't think it's a big voice.
I think it's a big voice for all of us that we actively ignore.
Yes. He's just doing what we're all too scared to do.
He's just doing what he's got to do, baby. You know what I'm saying? But some of these quotes here from... So this is what is this quote that you pulled up?
So sorry. This wasn't a quote, but like so yeah, there was the breakup. Cedric and Omar kind of took the brunt of it, but it got fucking worse with the death of Jeremy Ward, who died of an apparent heroin overdose, and that inspired Cedric and Omar to get clean. But yeah, there were some barbs going back and forth. I think they accused Jim of being there and not doing anything.
Well, I mean, that's a bold. What would you do unless you're John Travolta in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really like the bad blood is like really like not on the Wikipedia. You kind of got to go out of your way these days to find it. But it was like a very like, I never ever thought At the Drive-In would get back together because the words between them and Jim were so gnarly.
That's pretty bad. You blame the death of a friend on
his cousin. Oh man. But yeah, it was very nasty. And then I think like you could hear in the split like who wanted to do cool shit and who wanted to play it safe.
So after the breakup, Jim Ward started Sparta with Tony and Paul. And of course, we all know Omar and Cedric went Volta.
It is also very funny that Paul would deflect and later join the Volta.
Oh, did he?
He would end up leaving Sparta to join the Volta.
What album did he join on?
I'm not sure. I know that it happened.
Well, I mean, he saw he saw what was happening. I mean, it's very clear. It says right here, at the drive-in, reunited to play festivals in 2012, but then fractured again in 2013. What?
Oh, so I was like amazed that was happening because of all the fucking bad blood. I think over here, I don't remember if the first show ever or first show in Southern California was Coachella. Coachella at this point is I can't afford it anymore. Yeah. It used to be affordable,
of course,
but and so I watched the live stream. I was just like, this sucks.
Really?
This is bad. What's going on?
Old man.
Well, no,
they weren't that old.
They were old
but they were older than late 90s.
I guess Omar's mom had just passed away, and he was like trying to force just carry on. Although he says that wasn't so much it as he just didn't feel connected to it.
That I completely get that. I mean, it said there's even some quotes about that here. Omar says right here, he says, playing together again was to close the chapter on that era. We played those songs so we can hopefully move forward and do new music that represents where we are now. When playing those songs, I thought, here's a person at the time that I don't relate to anymore. He didn't care about his life and was doing drugs and was really disconnected from the world. Makes perfect sense why he stunk live playing these songs.
Yeah, so I wasn't really at the I wish I had made an effort to go see them now, but at the time I was just like, I think I also had like this mentality about them, and obviously he had the same feeling where like forward. I was like, Volta is forward. This is backwards.
Yeah.
This feels regressive.
Then in 2015, they tried it again. Cedric said, we're doing it. No more drama. We're going to do this band. We're going to do it right. And that's it. And we're always going to do other things. And we are who we are. But this band is special. And that's why we're here. As no surprise here, it says, but after initial rehearsals, the guitarist and singer Jim Ward, who had founded at the drive-in, left the reunited band. Mm-hmm. And Omar says he just wasn't ready. Ward did decline to comment about it. But they got Keeley from Sparta.
Yeah, basically Cedric was like, he wasn't ready, and I think he's kind of jealous creatively about where each of us went after that first breakup, but he's like, he's a beautiful person, and I only hope the best for him, and he's a really talented guy. So,
oh man, yeah. Well, they got Keeley Davis, and it says, and as the band repaired its relationships and reclaimed its catalog, Mr. Rodriguez-Lopez and Mr. Bixler-Zavala started writing new songs for the band, which leads us to the final and reunion album.
An album I wasn't expecting at all at the time.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. But here we are anyway. This is 2017's Inter Alia.
Unlike Arc Arsenal, this is just an okay opener.
Not a much of a heavy hitter, but it's a good song if it'll ever start.
It'd be a lot better if there was some floor toms and like moaning going on.
Yep. Go for some morning floor toms. Production feels good.
I mean, they're not poor anymore.
Nope, they're not. And Cedric is old.
It's more like a snarly Cedric.
Yeah.
This is more like punk rock driven.
Yeah. Nice little guitar lines in the background.
Wouldn't it be funny if Omar played bass and they just lit this Keeley guy?
Oh yeah, that would be fucking terrible, I bet. But
So that it's an okay song, but I feel like the album has so much more to offer in like the middle.
interesting. The middle is almost the part I don't like the most.
I don't know.
Like it's actually 3 songs specifically. Call Broken Arrow, Holt's Claw, and Torrentially Cut Shaw. They're the 3 that I don't care for.
I feel like that's at the end.
All right, well, the middle end. Those are the songs I don't care for. Before that and after that, I'm on board.
Yeah. Continuum is like kind of groovy, spacey at times.
I can't even recognize Cedric's voice on that intro.
He does this really cool part where he like whispers into a scream.
Mm-hmm.
Still pushing it forward, baby.
It's got like hard rockin' energy. It's which is weirdly different for them. It's not like amazing, but it's something that they never really dabbled with like hard rock feeling riffs.
Mm-hmm.
But it also has some solid lead guitar lines on that one too.
Tilting at the Univender is there's some riffs there where you're like, these could be Volta songs, but I think the like stripped back drumming and bass plants it more in the At the Drive-In camp. Obviously.
Yeah, there's like a really good lively section around 2 minutes in that I dig.
They're kind of lighter, breezier.
Yeah.
And then we get to Governed by Contagions.
Oh yeah. Rules.
Shout out to whatever cell block Danny Masterson's in.
Oh, is that about him?
It's about him.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is obviously way before he was like called out, or maybe he was called out, but not like
I think
under investigation.
Cedric's been calling him out for a long time because he raped Cedric's wife.
Yeah, he's a fucking monster. I mean, and he has like a fucking list. Like he's a true psychopath.
So like Cedric's literally on record about what a piece of shit he is. And yeah, that song just like it fucking hits so hard.
It feels almost gross that it's like one of my favorite songs, maybe my favorite song on the album.
He's no stranger to singing about dark things though. And then at the time, for wrestling fans, I don't know if it's in there, but Matt Hardy was doing the broken Matt Hardy thing, which is this bonkers, crazy gimmick.
It's great comedy. It's bananas.
And he would go delete. So there's a part where Cedric says delete everything. I doubt. I know.
I was like, it can't be a direct reference,
but at the time I was just like, oh, this kind of felt like this like little coincidence, and then I found out Cedric does like wrestling.
Maybe it was just influencing him from the periphery there.
Yeah.
Gorgeous main riff to Incurably Innocent. I did skip Pendulum and Peasant Dress, which has some really good moments.
I love it. It's just like 3 bangers in a row, like banger after banger. Pendulum and the Peasant Dress, and then Incurably Innocent.
The thing about Pendulum, it's like every time I always think that I don't like the song, and then another awesome section comes on.
Oh, it goes so hard.
It's like every time I think I don't like it, then it does something that I love.
It's
every time.
It should be illegal for a reunion album to have that many good songs in a row.
It is a really good reunion album. Incurably Innocent is like I don't love the whole thing. Like it gets really kind of dramatic, and it does things that I don't really love the whole journey of the song, but that main riff is really one of the best things they've written.
Yeah,
it's weirdly great.
They are grown men now.
Oh yes. The final 2 tracks, which I dig a lot, are Ghost Tape Number 9 and Hostage Stamps.
Ghost Tape Number 9 rules. I love the like mechanical sounding drums. Slower, more creepy.
Yep.
And yeah, it like the drums do like this clicky thing. Another situation where it's like, oh, this is like a darker, like creepier song, but like the drums really stand out. Yeah,
and there's a really good, I mean, because like it's mostly like the pacing that I like about it, because it feels really good following Torrentially Cut Shaw. which I found to be kind of average and samey. This one, it slows things down. It's still dramatic, but it's heavier. And also there's a section around 2:30 that fucking rules.
Mm-hmm. I like how chaotic Cut Shaw feels. Maybe not as chaotic as the big three on this album, but still fun.
There's one moment around 140 of that song that I do like.
Yeah.
And then I guess you might as well talk about Call Broken Arrow, and Holt's Claw. I mean, that whole chunk just kind of gets really samey for me.
Yeah, I mean, kind of hard to follow up the previous songs.
Yeah.
I feel like Holt's Claw is maybe hearkening back to the olden days.
It definitely feels like it. It's not super memorable, but it has that energy to it. I do actually like some of the. I think the main riff and verse section of Call Broken Arrow, I think is pretty cool. It's just the rest of it that kind of turns me off. The closer, it's nothing special, but it works. It's snappy. It's really aggressive.
I like it.
High energy. Yeah, it's fun.
I thought it was going to be a spacey song the way it started off.
Yeah.
It lied to me. It does this like cool thing where there's like these string samples as like a quick little bridge. Very cool stuff.
It is good stuff. It's a good album. It's far from groundbreaking, but a solid entry in the discography. It's not what you would fear as a horrific reunion bolt. Yeah, nothing like that.
Although
some legitimately great riffs and moments.
Although the AV Club doesn't seem to agree, but
the AV Club gave this album a D, and the Skinny gave it a 2-star
out of 5. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect from it when I first heard it, and I listened to it. I was like, "This fucking rules." I should have gone and saw them on this tour.
Yeah, I'm obviously not like super jazzed about it. I don't think it's like the most amazing thing ever, but I'm not mad at it. I think it's a pretty good album, and it, especially considering what it could be. Fuck yeah, dude, not bad at all.
I think also to like be as like, and it sounds a little cheesy, but I'm going to say it like as adventurous as Omar and Cedric have been, and to like decide to go back to like this place and do these more simple things, although I'm sure his guitar playing is anything but simple.
I find this to be almost an overcorrection of that, because there's no way this could have been a continuation of Relationship of Command. You
can't. Too much has happened.
The moment in time is long gone. But if you're listening to them back to back, you're kind of craving the next step. This is like before, in between Vaya and In Casino Out. It's like that's where I feel like this fits in musically. So it is a regression with that. But if you kind of take out the chronology of it and you just like look at it as his own album, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I think people also, the performances on the first go around of the reunion were so lackluster. I think Cedric rallying the troops and being like, "We're gonna fucking do it right this time."
Yeah, that is. You do need that. You need a general at times. But so in response to that, Cedric says here, he says, "We had lots of conversations about respecting our fan base and everything where we had left off. We need to honor where we left off sonically last time, and we need to honor how we used to paint outside the lines." And this also kind of captures a lot of the energy of it, which Omar said. He says, apparently he summed up the policy about this album as no overdubs. He says, "We're not going to do lots of layers. What you want to play has to be what it is. Make the decision now. You're not going to make the decision later. Put it down and it's going to stay like that forever. There it is. Don't waste a track. Don't waste the time. Don't waste the opportunity. Don't waste the song." Damn.
This feels more like a callback to In Casino Out rather than...
It is, definitely.
But yeah.
However, after this album, they stopped again. This is the statement or just message tweet. I don't know exactly how
it was a tweet.
It was a tweet from Cedric. This is from the second to last show, right after the second to last show. He says, "I apologize for the heavy emotions tonight. Maybe it's a sign of weakness to some of you, but I had to give a huge thank you to my aid at the Drive-In family. This was our second to last show. Tomorrow is the last. Don't know when we'll play again. Thank you, Rio. How do I even sleep now?" And that was it.
Yeah. Well, then a pandemic happened, and
Well, the pandemic happened 2 years later.
well, that's relative,
but
I mean, even if it didn't, but like, also, I don't know. There was something in, obviously Cedric and Omar are playing at the drive-in, and I think the Volta fiends, or I think we were like, you guys are cool.
If you guys are cool. And honestly, there is more, not that last Volta album was super revolutionary or forward in like musicality, but there is more room for Mars Volta than at the drive-in to do whatever they want to do.
Also, like, Omar has a million like side projects, like Bosnian Rainbows with Terry Genderbender, or like they even tried like a super group with the Melvins, which like fizzled out. Like they did the one record and that was
Which
it.
one was that?
Crystal Fairies or Crystal Fairy.
Oh man, I never heard that.
It's Terry, Omar, and then Buzz and
It's pretty
Dale.
sick. That's pretty sick.
I bought 2 tickets to 2 super groups. Both shows got canceled.
Damn. Was that during
No, this was before. I bought tickets. Crystal Fairy show got canceled. Bought tickets to Draft Tongue, which is like Brent from Mastodon, the new singer for Alice in Chains,
and the bass player who I used to share a rehearsal studio with.
Yeah, and I think some Dillinger guys and some other people.
Yeah.
Oh, I think some Volta drummer. There's a few of them. Bought tickets to that. That didn't fucking happen.
Damn.
And then a pandemic happened.
And then no one had fun for a long time. And then now we're here.
And I've seen the Volta 3 times, so I'll take that.
Hell yeah.
3 times
Since.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. I can't believe it's already been 3 times. Holy shit.
17 total.
Shut the fuck. 17?
17 times.
You've seen. Okay. I've never seen anybody that many times.
You've probably never seen anyone 10 times.
No. I think the band I've seen the most, honestly, is Death Heaven. That's like 5 or 6.
You're going to get up. I'm going to make you see it.
Dude. Hold on then. How many times have you seen Mastodon?
That might be like 13.
It's still a lot. Okay. It's still a lot, but it's not 17.
Also, I'm not proud of it, but there's a few times Mastodon has been in Southern California that I didn't make it out.
It used to be every show, right?
But like Volta was like Mastodon was like every LA show I would
every
go.
LA show.
Volta was every Southern California show.
That's some passion, man.
Ventura, Santa Barbara, San Diego.
Fucking Santa Barbara. Hell no, I'm not driving to Santa Barbara.
Well, that's a nice little drive.
It's not that bad of a drive.
It's a nice venue.
Is it?
It's a nice little venue. It's like a smaller version of the Greek Theater, the Santa Barbara Bowl.
That sounds nice. The Greek Theater is quite nice.
Yeah.
But let's wrap it there. Let's do a little recap. We have the same pick, so let's do it.
Oh yeah, both of us. Worst, least favorite, El Gran Orgo. Best personal favorite, Relationship of Command. If for some reason you haven't heard that fucking album yet,
you got to get on it. I can't believe this is the first time we've overlapped in a long time too.
Oh yeah, I think usually we make a big deal of it, but this feels so hot. Like duh.
This band feels obvious. This band feels quite obvious.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for watching and hanging out. If you like us, stick around, subscribe, talk some shit in the comments, tell us why we're idiots, or you can not do that and be cool for once, for Christ's sake. You can follow me on all social media at Panda Monkey and Alex on Instagram at
Every Album Alex. Please
follow our history guy, Tom Osman, Tom Osman Sounds on all social media, as well as TomOsmanSounds.com for all his music. He does he digs up dirt for us. He gets interviews for us. He does his own interviews that he has on his Substack, TomOsman.substack.com. Really cool stuff. And also check out my EP. The link to that in the description. It's very cool stuff. Not gonna forget. Patreon, baby.
Can't forget.
Yeah. Patreon.com/every album ever. That's where you go. We have a bunch of bonus episodes on there. You get to see our schedule in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we cover next. You get to join our Discord, be a part of our little community, hang out with us there, as well as suggesting EAE singles albums. So if there's a new album that came out this year, you want us to talk about it, throw it on there and we will do an episode on it. And if you're tier 2, That's right, baby. You can suggest a full ass discography for us to cover on our bigger, longer numbered episodes. It's within reason, all right? Under 20 albums preferred, for fuck's sake. Actually, under 15, honestly. If you want to go 20...
13's pushing it.
13 is pushing it. We will accept a wiggle room. There's room for that. But if we have to do multiple parts, usually 13 and up, we have to do multiple parts. So we'll have to get a little bit creative there and maybe not. Or negotiate with us. We'll see.
Talk to one of us.
Talk to one of us. And also, if you're tier 2, you can suggest any album from any discography for us to cover on our Patreon bonus episodes. So if you don't want to see us do a whole episode on a band that you don't really care for, but you like one album, there we go.
Like, could I tell the people what we got there so far?
Yeah.
Incentivize. Maybe if you want to hear our thoughts on DJ Shadow's Introducing,
absolutely. We also got an episode on Porcupine by Echo and the Bunnymen. And most recently, we have an episode on Dictius Tenakari from Bethlehem. It's a black metal band. It's pretty brutal, but it's good stuff. Interesting albums. The difference between those episodes and these is that we're only covering the good albums.
One and done, baby.
It's only good stuff. It's so fun to listen to good music. Not that this band had that many bad records, but boy, oh boy, that first EP was rough. Oh, technically we didn't even cover all their EPs. They have like earlier stuff than this.
I don't even know if those are available. This was a fucking breeze for me to do.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, anyway, yeah, go there, do that. Thank you. Wrapping it up now. What are we going to listen to?
You know what? I'll indulge you with Invalid Litter
Department?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for listening and watching, baby. See ya.